for the best women's brands to resell on platforms like eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, and Depop, I have got you covered. In this video, I'm going to be going through 23 of the best women's brands to be on the lookout for. If you're new here, then welcome to the channel. My name is Lee Meyer. I'm a stay-at-home mom of 4, and I've made well over $100,000 flipping used clothes and other items on sites like eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. And now I'm on a mission to help at least 1,000 resellers be able to hit that $100,000 mark themselves. To help you out, I've got a ton of free goodies for you that you'll find down here in the description below this video. This is where you're going to find things like my best brands list, the list of 150 brands that has led me to the $100,000 mark and beyond. You'll also find a link to sign up for my free $100,000 reseller challenge. In this free challenge, I show you exactly how to hit $100,000 for yourself this year, and how to do it without the hustle, without having to spend gobs of time, and actually how to get there in very part-time hours. You're also going to discover in that free challenge the very best things to be selling right now in today's market. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the topic of this video, and we're going to be diving into specifically the best women's brands to be on the lookout for. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so this first brand that I have for you is Christy Dawn. With this one, this is a little bit smaller brand of what we're going to look at in this video. You can see that there's 78 sold here on eBay. eBay does keep a very limited amount. So if you go over on Poshmark, you're going to see a lot more of these selling, but it's just because they keep a little bit longer history. And with this Christy Dawn brand, these items are very romantic, feminine, flowy look to them. You're going to see a lot of florals. You're going to see a lot of their dresses selling. So as I'm scrolling through here, we've got one for $150, $78 there that's sold, but you're seeing a lot of tiered dresses as well. This one sold for $91. And as I'm scrolling through here, it's mostly all dresses that I am seeing selling with this brand. That's kind of what really this brand is known for. They're also known for being eco-friendly, and you're going to see that on the tag. So here's the tag. It says Christy Dawn and then honoring Mother Earth. And because of that, this brand has a really good following. So this is a gingham print dress. That one sold for $160. By the way, all of these are sold items that we're looking at. You will see sold down there in the bottom corner of the photos. And you're also going to see over here the sale price. And it's going to say or best offer, but I've hand selected to be able to show you the items where a best offer was not accepted. When a best offer is accepted, there's a strikeout through the price, as well as additional text under here that says a best offer was accepted. So just want to clarify that here. This is a tiered maxi dress that sold with 2 bids on it. So I always try to point out in these videos if these items sold on auction, otherwise they are fixed price. So this one had 2 bids on it, and that one went for $112. This dress is a little bit more unique design for this brand, definitely kind of a retro look to this. On the tag there, it's also organic cotton, so I do want to point that one out. But that one sold for $150. They did put in a pretty good keyword here to describe that item of Victorian, and I think that fits that item pretty well. The next brand that we're going to look at is La Double J. And with this one, it's going to be a little bit louder prints than what we saw with the last Christy Dawn brand. So for example, blue and red floral, we've got another pretty loud print right there. You're going to see bigger prints with this. You're going to see more geometric, like that dress there. You're seeing geometric print on that dress. But check out some of the prices that these are selling for. I got a dress there that went for $275. The set here that went for $189. So this is big money if you come across this brand. Definitely a very good following. There's a couple variations on the tag. Here's what one of them looks like, and it is an Italian brand. Here's this dress, and that one sold for $244. It did have 1 bid on that dress. This is another variation of the tag. Instead of that orange and pink, it's more of a cream color tag. And this is a pair of pants that's got some embroidery or print down here at the bottom. That one sold for $84. This is a dress with a large geometric design to it. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see that design. They are flowers, but it is a bigger print. And so that is a maxi length dress. That one sold for $135. The next brand that we're going to look at is called Saison. This is a more common brand, and I'm going to scroll through here so you can see kind of what their style is, what their items look like, and they're a little bit more subtle than the last brand that we looked at, that La Double J. So you're seeing, solid print tops here. We're talking over $100 for both of those tops, $110, $186. Got a plaid shirt there that sold for $60. You're going to see some other items mixed in here as well, like shoes and bags. So they do make other items, and those do sell. So a couple items to be able to show you here. One of the lines to be on the lookout for is called La Maya, I believe is how you say that. Unfortunately, this tag is turned a little bit sideways. I can't rotate on my computer as I'm showing you, but La Maya Saison, and that is just their knit sweater line. So if you come across this, that does mean pretty good money. So this is a cardigan sweater. That one sold for $80. A lot of them do sell for a lot more than that. So definitely be on the lookout for that. This is a pair of jeans, and so that tag does look a little bit different. So it says Saison and then denim. Here's what these jeans look like. And then those sold for $129. Now, this is their more typical tag design. So there it says Paris and then Saison. And this is a button-up shirt. That's what that looks like. Actually, a dress, a button-up dress. That one sold for $49. This next brand that we're going to look at is what is called Retrofet. And with this brand, they do make a little bit more edgy items. I've got a jacket here with some puff sleeves on that. I love that. One's for almost $200. Another puff sleeve there. Did not do so well on auction. So be careful, with those auctions, you really need to know what the demand is before you choose auction over fixed price. Got a one shoulder denim dress there that went for $70. Bleach stains on that jacket, bleach spots on that jacket. So just love some of their designs. Here's another item with some bleach stains. I'm going to go ahead and bleach spots. Gonna go ahead and zoom in on that one because that is actually a really cool item where it's got those big bleach spots and then it's totally ripped. It's not just ripped across the bottom, but it's ripped upwards, and that is the design of the item. That one went for $78. But I really want to point some of these out because they are some more unique styles that you're going to see with this. I saw another one up here where this is a bodysuit, but it's split there through the center of that. And so some decent prices with this brand. As we're scrolling through here, you're seeing several that are over the $100 mark. Most all of them are selling for over the $50 mark. We got one there that went for $46. Some pretty good prices with this. This is a tag inside of one of those jackets. And so there's what it looks like. It's kind of doubled up or tripled up on that font. And there's that puff sleeve jacket. That one sold for $175. This is a dress. That one sold with 3 bids on it there. That one went for $81 for that maxi dress. With this one, this is a jumpsuit, and that one went for $138 with 1 bid. And then this top. So this is the top only. It's a denim top. That one sold for $75. The next brand is Johnny Was. And this is a really popular brand. They do make lots of different lines. We're going to talk about some of those other lines that they make, but these can be some good money to come across, especially when it comes to their tops, dresses, cardigans. The things that usually sell for less are their pants and shorts. So I would tend to try to stay away from those. Those they don't usually sell for quite as much money. So you're seeing, $40 for basically a t-shirt. Dress here that went for $60, but there are items that do sell for well over $100, pushing even over $200 in some cases. We're going to talk a little bit more about what those are. So cardigans specifically, if you come across anything that's 100% silk, those will usually sell for more money. This is one of their tag designs. It is sideways, so you might need to turn your head a little bit, but it just says Johnny Was. That's one of their more simple tags. And this is a kimono. That one sold for $98. And then this is another version of the tag that you're going to see where it's got these two people on it. This one happens to say Johnny Was. It's also a lot of these tags do say Pete and Greta, so that is one of their lines. So if you come across that Pete and Greta tag, that is a Johnny Was line. And then that one sold for $50 for that blouse. Another line that you may come across with Johnny Was, I'm not sure how to say this one, Bia or Bia, it's Biya. So there's the tag there. And here's what this blouse looks like. That one sold for $45. So just be aware that there are different tag variations out there. I do go over a lot of the different tag variations for brands inside of my big money brands because it's not always just one tag for one brand. Would be nice. Of course, that's simple, but it's not always. And so inside of all of my big money brand guides, I do give you the different tag variations so that you know what to look for with those brands. You also get all of the done for you research of average sale price, sell-through rate. You get tons of photos, so you never have to second guess yourself. You always know exactly what you're looking for. This next brand is called Totem, like a totem pole. I was a little bit confused how to say that, so I had to look this up. And this is what I would call a quiet luxury brand. So it's a luxury brand, but it's not screaming loud. There's no big letters on it. There's no spell out. There's no brand name on most of these items. They're pretty basic. They're as I'm scrolling through here, you're seeing that almost all of them are solid. There's not a lot of prints. There's been a few stripes that we've been by, but almost all of these are, here's a striped sweater. That one sold for $181 with 9 bids on it. But for the most part, these are all solid items. Here's another one for $100 we're going to take a look at here in a second. So this is the brand tag. It can be a little bit confusing if you don't know what it is that you're looking for. It may be easy to pass by because you can't read just the brand name straight off of this. So I do have another video where I go through easy to miss tags. I'm going to link to that video up here. So that is that striped sweater that we just took a look at. And then that one sold for $100. Now this one is a scarf. And so this is what it looks like. And then that's just laid out. It does have those letters on it. So it's not quite, maybe quite luxury like most of their items, but that one sold for $180. This is a ribbed dress. Maxi dress, that one went for over $20. This next brand is called Doan, Doen, and this is another brand that's kind of similar to that Christy Dawn, where it's very flowy, romantic, feminine, a lot of floral prints with this. And you're going to see blouses as well as dresses selling, some, maybe even some skirts mixed in with this. Here's a pair of boots. So they do make and sell a variety of different items, not just dresses like what we saw mostly with the Christy Dawn. So this is a blouse here. And then that one sold for $128. This is the tag, so I wanted to make sure to show you that brand tag. That's what that looks like. And this is just a floral button-up blouse. That one sold for $89. We got another peasant style blouse here. And then that one sold for $63, and that one had 15 bids on it. This next brand is called Selfportrait. And with this brand, you're going to see a variety of different types of items that are selling. You're going to see items that are more dressy. So example, a dress here, that one sold for $225, got a longer length dress there. Best offer was accepted on that, so we would have to look up what the price is that it actually sold for. I do have a video where I go through how to do that. I'm going to link to that here. So you are seeing a lot of dresses with this, but they are a little bit more edgy, not quite as feminine, not quite as floral and flowy as Christy Dawn, or the last brand that we looked at. There are a lot of dresses. You're going to see a lot of blacks and whites with this brand as well. Some more blacks down here. And then with this, the tag is very pretty basic, bold, just white and black, all lowercase. Here's what this dress looks like. And then that one sold for $89 for that dress. Got another dress here with a blue and green print on it. One sold for $56. Not the best photos as far as the lighting goes, but that one had 8 bids on that. And then another tiered dress here. With this one, you're not seeing the sold across this. This is a sold item, but it is a multi-quantity. So if you see this item's out of stock, that just indicates that it is a multi-quantity. So I do have this one pulled up here. That one sold for $98 for that listing. This next brand is what is called Lip Service. This is a goth style brand, very edgy, very kind of rock look to this. You're going to see bell sleeves. A lot of these do come from the 90s, although it is a current selling brand, currently made brand. Here's another one with those big bell sleeves, that dress, kind of a witch core dress. One went for $159, but definitely edgy look with this brand. They do have several different tag variations. So there's one of them there with that skull on it. This is just a top that had 29 bids on it, and that one sold for $56. This is a pencil skirt in animal print. That one sold for $375. This is a top with a fishnet material, a little bit different tag there for you. That's what that top looks like. And then that sold for $70. This is another of their tags. It's a little bit older tag that has this rose through it. The font's a little bit harder to read. This is a set where there's a corset top as well as the matching pants. That one sold for $350. This next brand is Alexander Wang, definitely a more luxury end brand. Some of these items can sell for quite a lot. For example, item here, almost sold for $400, $399 for that. With Alexander Wang, you're going to see a lot of different items, not just basic clothing items. You're going to see other accessories like bags. You're going to see shoes that are selling. So this designer does make a variety of items. Here's another bag. That one sold for $180. So those can be big money if you do happen to come across those bags, but the clothes don't do so bad either. So a couple of items to be able to show you: a button-up blouse here, and that one sold for $78. Got a dress here. Here's what this looks like. One sold for $300, but you can see the design of that is a little bit more unusual. This is a pair of shoes that I had to show because just they're a pretty cool design with a zipper around the top, and then those sold for $85. The next brand that I've got for you is Spell and the Gypsy Collective. This is a very interesting brand. With this, there are a lot of florals. You're going to see quite a few bright colors. We got some yellows mixed in there, some reds. Got a skirt here that's orange. And with this, tags do vary quite a lot. So some of them just say Spell. Some of them are going to say Spell and the Gypsy Collective, like what you're seeing with this tag there. This one is an extra small, so I do want to point that out. Here's what that dress looks like. It's kind of a tiered look to that dress. That one sold for $149. This is a different variation on the tag where it just says Spell. This is a maxi skirt. There's what that skirt looks like. That one sold for $450. This is another variation on the tag where it just says Spell. Definitely brightly print bright colored with this one. That one sold for $150. And I want to take a second to invite you to the Empowered Reseller membership program. This is where I'm personally able to connect with my members, able to answer questions. I'm even able to do things like store reviews, account reviews, listing reviews. I would love to be able to welcome you into our supportive community. It comes with that community as well as a huge course vault to help you take your reselling game to that next level. This next brand is Mossino. Now there's a few things to know with this brand. I'm going to just quickly scroll through here because they do make a variety of different items like bags and shoes that you're going to see mixed in here in addition to other clothing items. But with this brand, there's a couple different tags to look for. One of them is this Mossino, what is called cheap and chic. So that's a little bit upside down with this one. And this one is a cardigan sweater. That one sold for $63. This is their more affordable, a little bit more fun line. Here's another tag from that Mossino, cheap and chic. And just because it says cheap, these do not sell for cheap prices. So this is a polka dot dress, a little bit older style. That one sold for $138. This is a Mossino tag where it says Mossino jeans. And one is just a long sleeve t-shirt. That one sold for $50, but be aware that you'll come across other tags where it just says Moschino, not cheap or chic or jeans, and those sell equally as well. This next brand is what is called Alexis. Now, I did go ahead and pull out belts, so you're going to see minus belt up there. That just removes the belts because there was another brand coming up that was actually a different designer that made belts, even though I had used the filter over on the side to look for just this brand. For whatever reason, those belts were coming up too. So with this brand, you are going to see some feminine prints with this, some flowy designs, some handkerchief hems like that shirt there. As well as some different textures. I'm seeing a different texture here with this one, with that dress as well, kind of a cutout. And with this, some of the items do sell for a little bit less money. So for example, we got one here for $13, but then right next to it, there's one that went for $200. We got a top there that went for 95, a dress here for 140. So definitely make sure that you look those comps as with everything before you go and invest. This is a metal tag. Now, not all of their tags look like this, but I did want to show that tag. This is one that's a little bit hard to read. Unfortunately, it is sideways with this item. I'll show you what the fabric tag looks like here in a second. So what this is that is a set, a top and bottoms. And then that one had 7 bids on it and it sold for $68. So this one is a blouse and this is their fabric tag. That's what the tag looks like. So again, a little bit maybe abstract as far as some of those letters go. There's what that looks like. And then that one sold for $48 for that blouse. This is a shirt dress. And then that one sold for $89. Now, the next brand is St. John. And this is probably one of my favorite brands to come across. It is relatively common, but these items can sell for quite a lot, especially their suit sets. So got one here that went for $259. These are definitely a mature woman look to a lot of these items. They do also have several different lines to be aware of. There's several different labels that are out there. So this is what is called St. John Sport. So these labels do look a little bit different. This is a jacket. That one sold for $75. This is a tag where it says just St. John. And this is a dress. That one sold for $100. And this is another item from that St. John Sport line. This is a knit sweater. That one sold for $129. And then this is an example of one of those suit sets. This is a 2-piece set. It says St. John Collection. And so with this is a dress as well as the top. And then that one sold for $345. I should say jacket instead of top. This one, next brand is Isabelle Morant. And with this brand, this designer does make other items in addition to just clothes. They do make those accessories like shoes. So you're going to see a few shoes mixed in here, $215, $160. So definitely an item to be on the lookout for in addition to those other clothing items. And a lot of these are selling for, over that $50 price point. Couple skirts there for $72, $88. And with this is a pair of boots, and these have a little bit of an interesting toe on them. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can zoom in on that. So they've got a silver metal toe on those. Those sold for $420 with one bid on those boots. This is another one of the labels that you'll see with this one where it says Isabelle Morant. I'm not going to attempt French. My French is not great. This is a blazer, and this one sold for $46. So this is their more traditional tag where it just says Isabelle Morant. This is a blouse here in what looks like seersucker fabric. That one sold for $150. Now, I did mention that Empowered Reseller membership program. I do want to mention that if you go with the starter kit and the starter kit plus, when you choose the starter kit plus, it does come with the support of the Empowered Reseller membership program. To get the starter kit, that's everything you need to get started with reselling. I will link to that over here. It literally includes everything that you need to get up and running and bringing in those first sales. This next brand is what is called The Row. And with this one, this is a luxury brand, and these do sell for luxury prices. So there's very few with this that are selling for under the $100 price point. Most of them, are well over $100 for these items. And you're going to see different types of items. So for example, shoes as well as bags with this one. So this is an example of a pair of shoes. There's the marking on the inside of the shoe. So you can see it's very simple, very clean. These are a pair of ballet flat slip-ons. Those had one bid on them and they sold for $199, basically $200. This is a leather jacket, not the best of pictures. It's a little bit dark, but you can kind of make out what that is. That one sold for $437. This is a skirt. So there is the tag there with this one. It is black on black. So it's a little bit hard to read, or maybe dark gray on black. Here's what this skirt looks like. So it's just a basic maxi skirt. That one sold for $110. This is a cape that I thought was interesting. It's a long length, and the seller actually had a picture where they stood behind it, held it out so you can see what that is a little bit better. But that one sold for $350. Here's another blouse. So this is just kind of a basic blouse. The back has a little bit of a detail where it's a little bit open, a little bit sheer at the middle there. That one sold for $95. This next brand is All Saints. And All Saints does make items other than for just women. I specifically filtered these down just to show you the items that are selling for women, but their men's items sell for quite a lot as well. And with this, you're going to see other items in addition to just those clothes. You're going to see some shoes, some bags, some other accessory types of items mixed in here. We got a wallet and a belt there. But these items can sell for quite a bit, and it does vary. So some sell for a little, some sell for a lot. Again, make sure that you look up those comps. So with this one, this is a sweater. That is what the tag looks like. This is an extra small, by the way. And here's what that sweater looks like. That one sold for $30, so more towards the lower end for this brand. This is a dress, that wrap detail as well as a chiffon fabric. That one sold for $51. Now it's really important to be able to describe your items correctly, even those fabrics. And that's something that a lot of people look over. It's easy to read off of a material tag what something is, but as far as what type of fabric, if it's seersucker that I mentioned earlier, or if it's the chiffon like we just looked at, that's one of the things that shoppers are actually searching for. That's one of the things that they're buying from. And if your items don't show up, they're never going to get found. And so that's where keywords come in. I do have a brand new poster that specifically covers things like fabrics, as well as different types of knits and different types of prints to know about it. I guarantee that you will learn something new from this poster. I'm going to link to that resource over here. This next brand is called Veronica Beard, and I believe that this brand was started by two women, both named Veronica Beard, that were sisters and sister-in-law. Both happen to have the same name, one married into the family. And they started this brand together. So this brand has a very kind of career look to it. You're going to see a lot of solid items with this. There's, one animal print there. For the most part, most of these are solid. If it's a print, it's a little bit more subtle. There's nothing like super loud with this brand. And these items can sell for a lot, especially the blazers. So the blazers are one of the higher end items to be on the lookout for. And here is the tag. Sorry, it has a little bit of writing here in the corner, but with this, you're going to see that it has kind of an outline font where there's two lines for each of those letters. And this is a blazer here. One button blazer, then that one sold for $275. So it's not uncommon for their blazers to sell for, over $100, over $200. This is a maxi skirt here with that patchwork design. That one sold for $59. Got a blouse here in a stripe and ruffle collar. That one sold for $95. By the way, this one is an extra small. I always want to point those small sizes out because small sizes can sell well. You just need to have the right items that people are actually shopping for. This next brand is called Stodd. And with this, again, this is another one where you're going to see a variety of different types of items selling. As I'm scrolling through here, you've already seen some bags. as well as shoes mixed in here, those more accessory types of items. But this brand has a pretty good resale value for most of their items. Here's one where a seller probably made a mistake, started bids at 99 cents, that sold for 99 cents. There's right times and wrong times to do an auction. That was probably the right time. Got a sweater though, there that sold for 75, another dress here for $92. Here is what this Stodd tag looks like. So it's very bold, very blocky. And this is a dress. That one sold for $70. It got another dress here. This is a maxi dress, button up with those puff sleeves. Those sold for $79. That one sold for $79. And then an example of a bag here for you. That one sold for $168. So if you do come across those accessory items with this brand, that can be some really good money. And then this sweater I thought was a really interesting, fun colors, bright colors. And with this one, it does have kind of a little bit nautical look to it. They did not happen to put that in their title. I believe they just put the name of the style, but that one sold for $60. Now, one of the tricks to getting your items sold, especially when it comes to maybe non-name brands or off brands or lower value brands, which is not covering in this video, when you can open yourself up to other types of items and sell not only based off of brands, which are great, to sell based off of styles, that can open you up to so much more possibility when it comes to sourcing, and it can open you up to so much more profit potential with each and every one of your items. And that's where aesthetic style-based keywords come in. Like I mentioned nautical, but there are so many others, and I have a poster where I actually cover 80 different keywords, aesthetic-based keywords that are selling right now. So I'm going to link to that resource over here, but I promise it will change your reselling game. This next brand is a Danish brand that is called Doan, Ganni. Do have some items that are a little bit more on the fun side, colorful side. So just in here, we have pink, green, and orange floral. I've got another, pink shirt there. So some fun items with this one. This is actually a collaboration, Donnie with New Balance. So those bright yellow tennis shoes, that one's kind of fun. This is a pair of shorts here that you're looking at. There is the tag picture in those shorts. And then there are those shorts. They're, bright yellow. Those sold for $65. This is an animal print skirt. And then that one sold for about $55. Wrap style dress. With this one, that one sold for $90. This next brand is Farm Rio. This is another one that has some really fun colors, fun prints, bright colors. And with this, they do have collaborations, like you saw those shoes where it was a collaboration with New Balance. Farm Rio does collaborations as well. One of the more common collaborations that you'll see is with Adidas. So got an example of a tank top right there, or that's actually a romper. That one is a collaboration with Adidas. One sold for $75, but you'll see collaborations for items like track jackets as well. Here's a sweatshirt, crew neck sweatshirt. That one sold for $43. So keep your eye out for those collaborations with Adidas. Now with the Farm Rio brand label, you're going to see a couple different labels. You're going to see items where it says for Anthropologie on the tag, and then you're going to see items that they did not make for Anthropologie, and then the tag will have that blank underneath here. I'll show you exactly what I mean. So this is just a shirt dress. That one sold for $49. Got a dress here that is Farm Rio, not for Anthropologie. So there is what the tag looks like on the one. This is a maxi dress. That one sold for $189. This is a pair of brightly colored pants, joggers. Those sold for $65. Got another brightly colored dress here for you. This one sold for $95. This next brand is what is called Aliyah. This is definitely a luxury brand with luxury prices. And you're going to see some items in here like those bags and shoes that I keep mentioning that are mixed in here that are selling for quite a lot. Got a pair of shoes there. Those sold for $900. So definitely be on the lookout if you come across those other items. And with this, this is what the tag looks like. And this is on a dress. So there is that dress. That one sold for $290. So definitely a bolo. This is a tag inside of a jean jacket. There is what that jean jacket looks like. That one sold for $600. And then this is a dress with kind of what I would have put as an art print, so optical illusion. But check that out. It almost looks like 3D coins on that. That one sold for $300. Got another example of a dress here with that little bit of detail, that extra detail along that hem. That one sold for $198. Now, I do want to mention really quick that I've got a couple posters to know about, a bag poster as well as a shoe poster. And these I'm not able to link to both of them at the same time. So I'm going to link to just the bag poster here. But if you go to my shop at empoweredreseller.com, this is where you're going to find all of the posters as well as more resources that will help you in your reselling business. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in today's video. I would love to know, what is your favorite women's clothing brand to sell? Drop comments because I would love to hear from you. And if you haven't yet signed up for that free $100,000 reseller challenge, you're going to want to do that now. $100,000 is closer than you think, more doable than you think, and you can get there without the hustle, without having to work harder and put in more time. And I show you exactly how in that challenge. Now, if you're looking for even more women's bolos, to go ahead and link to a video up here where you can go and learn about more brands that are worth flipping for big money. Thanks for hanging out, and I will catch you in the next video soon.